Hello everyone, let's jump straight into selecting a PMIS. Selecting a project management information system is the process of identifying and choosing a technology solution that supports project planning, execution, monitoring, and reporting needs. Now let me say that in simple English. A PMIS is the main tool that helps teams plan work, track progress, and communicate clearly. Stay with me here. A PMIS is not just software, it's how people actually run projects day to day. I've seen projects struggle not because teams were weak, but because the tool made everything harder. So now that we are clear on what selecting a PMIS really means, the next thing to understand is why choosing the right one matters so much. Let's talk about why PMIS selection is a big deal for the PMO. In practical terms, the PMIS shapes how people work, report, and make decisions. In everyday English, a good system reduces confusion and a bad one creates daily frustration. You've probably seen this at the office. People maintain one schedule in Excel, another in a tool, and a third in emails. I once saw a team spend more time updating the system than managing the project. That's a selection problem, not a people problem. So now that we see why the right PMIS matters, the next step is understanding what the PMO should look for before choosing one. When selecting a PMIS, PMI thinking emphasizes alignment with organizational needs, project complexity, and user capability. Let's break this down together. The tool must match how the organization actually works, not how the vendor's demo looks. A simple project environment doesn't need a complex system, and a complex environment can't survive on spreadsheets. I remember a PM saying, "Sir, the tool is powerful, but nobody knows how to use it." That tells you the tool was chosen for features, not for people. So now that we understand what needs to be considered, the next question becomes, who should be involved in this selection? From a PMO services perspective, PMIS selection works best when users, PMs, and leadership are involved early. In simple terms, don't choose tools in isolation. You have probably seen tools forced on teams with no input. Adoption fails almost immediately. I once facilitated a short session where PMs listed what annoyed them most about their current system. That list guided the entire selection process and saved months of resistance. So now that we know who should be involved, the next step is seeing how the PMO evaluates and compares options. Evaluating a PMIS is not about picking the most famous name or the longest feature list. It's about usability, reporting clarity, integration, and scalability. Let me put that simply. If people won't use it, it doesn't matter how good it looks. You've probably experienced systems where logging in feels like work itself. I've seen PMOs run small pilots before full rollout, and that one step prevented major mistakes. So now that we understand how PMIS options are evaluated, the final piece is seeing what happens after a system is selected. Once a PMIS is selected, the real work begins with implementation, training, and gradual adoption. A system only adds value when people trust it and use it consistently. I've seen PMOs succeed by rolling out features slowly and listening to feedback instead of forcing everything at once. Over time, the tool becomes part of normal work instead of an extra task. So now that we've walked through how a PMIS is selected and introduced, the next natural step is to explore how the PMO configures and governs the PMIS to ensure long-term value, which is exactly where we are heading next. We are going to discuss PMIS requirements in details in next chapter.